presentation is by Valerie, and Valerie is a PhD student working with our study. And Valerie's favorite snack, one of mine
is something you might want, something you take when you are watching a movie or anything like that. Popcorn. Yay.
Popcorn. Whenever you're ready, Valerie.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Let me just get my slides going here. Awesome. I'm going to jump right in. But before we get too deep into the research, I think it's helpful to take a step back and think about what stress actually is. So some of us might know it as the fight or flight response, and this is because we evolved stress as a survival mechanism. So not many of us have to run away from lions anymore, but if we did, this complex network of neurological and biochemical factors would give us the mental and physical energy to do that. The one downside is that our poor bodies can't tell the difference between which dangers are real and which ones we just think might be coming. We set up the same chain reactions for both types of danger. It's also totally normal to feel stressed sometimes. The good news is that our bodies are strong enough to handle the occasional really bad day. During those bad days, there's a bunch of different ways that stress can make us feel. Emotionally, we might feel upset, angry, or sad. We might crave sweet or fatty foods and comfort eat. My personal go-to is pistachio ice cream. Our bodies think we need this extra energy to recover from fighting that lion. Stress can also disrupt our sleep, either making us sleep less or not as deeply. And stress also makes us want to conserve our energy, so it can be hard to motivate ourselves to be physically active. Normally, our bodies are resilient and we can power through this in the short term. But if we have lots of bad days, or maybe even bad weeks or bad months, all of these small changes build up over time and we start to see some long-term consequences. So now let's take a closer look at some of the GFHS research. In this first study, we used the wonderful responses to our stress questions that you all completed on the online surveys and combined that with the body fat data that we collect during our health assessments. As an aside, thank you everyone for being so awesome at doing these assessments at home. It's such important data for us and we really appreciate it. These results found that parents who had more stress also tended to have more body fat. This could be because of changes to our sleep, diet, and activity patterns when we're stressed, like we talked about earlier. We dug a little deeper into the stress and diet data and found that highly stressed parents tended to eat more of the foods that promote inflammation, things like carbs, cholesterol, and saturated fats, and less of the anti-inflammatory foods high in fiber, omega-3 fatty acids, and other helpful vitamins and micronutrients. But we didn't see any associations among kids. We also looked at how stress might influence which habits parents use for managing children's screen time. We found that stressed parents were more likely to use parenting practices that Lisa's research found was linked with greater children's screen time overall. So for example, using screens in front of kids during meal times, less limit setting, and less monitoring screen use. We also did a study about a year ago to check in with families during the earlier stages of COVID to see how everyone was coping. Not surprisingly, lots of families were having a tough time during the pandemic, so if you find yourself more stressed than normal, you aren't alone. Families pointed out reasons like managing childcare and homeschooling, as well as financial instability. We also took a look at how the GFHS program was affecting family stress levels. The GFHS wasn't designed to target family stress specifically, but we were concerned that maybe when we were trying to help families change their health behaviors, we might have been inadvertently shaking things up and increasing family stress. But thankfully, the results even a year after the intervention showed no change in stress levels. But this may mean that other health studies might need to include specific stress-reducing strategies if we want to have a positive impact, not just no negative impact. Now let's talk about some resources we can all use to help manage family stress. If you visit the GFHS website, you can find a collection of resources on stress, including some specific resources to help with pandemic-related parenting challenges. One of the resources we developed was a tip sheet on how to recharge your mental batteries. It's important to prioritize your own self-care. Just like they tell you on an airplane, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help others. Small actions like going for a walk, getting enough sleep, and choosing helpful snacks can add up to a big impact on your well-being. Regular routines help reduce stress for the whole family because it keeps everyone on the same page and reduces uncertainty. Get kids involved in making family routines that include time for learning, playing, and relaxing. Try unplugging for a little bit. Too much information just overwhelms our brains. So try to limit your media exposure and consider turning off non-essential notifications, even if only for a few hours. It's important to maintain connections with the people who help you feel supported, listened to, and loved. So try virtual playdates or phone call coffee hours, whatever works for you. Any little bit of activity is good for stressed bodies. Check out our website for the tips Jake put together for some new activities to get the whole family moving, and find the little moments of fun where you can. If you need extra support, there are lots of mental health professionals that would be happy to help. please get in touch if you need them. These organizations exist to be used, and they're open to everyone because we all deserve to feel our best mentally and physically. All of these resources are listed on our website stress section if you'd like to check them out later. And now I will pass things back over to our lovely party hosts, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have during our Q&A session. Thank you all so much for participating. We couldn't have done these studies without our awesome families.
Thank you so much, Valerie. That was fabulous. I'm impressed with how much you were able to share. That was a lot of studies that you have led and done, which is really impressive. And thank you for that summary of recharging.
Well, on that hand, I feel very recharged after that. I have all the ways.